and the masses rose up. So week after week you see a new government falling, another one falling, another one falling. Finally the whole Russian thing began to break up, and in shock America said, woke up one day and there was no more Russia. You remember when the Shah of Iran was here visiting with Jimmy Carter? Yes, sir. And tear gas was coming up on the lawn? And in a matter of less than a year, the Shah was gone? The revolution started with a tape and cassette recorder, just spreading the word by tape. And all of a sudden, the leaders didn't have power no more to deal with the masses, because the masses were listening to another voice. And before you knew it, the masses shook and governments came down. Now Russia's gone. The Soviet Union, as we know it, gone in the what? Twinkling of an eye. You don't think that could happen to America, do you? You've been sold a bill of goods and you bought it, that America's invincible. You don't believe that there's no power able to deal with her. You're almost right. Not quite right, but almost right. When Russia fell and broke up, Secretary of State Baker started moving throughout the world, talking to every nuclear power, trying to bring them in line with certain protocols. Russia, White Russia, and Boris Yeltsin, the new president, went along with Bush and Baker. But he couldn't solidify his own military machinery. So among the Muslims, for the first time in Kazakhstan, are hundreds of strategic nuclear weapons. And while all the other republics decided to give up their nuclear weapons, the Muslims said, no, we're not giving up ours. Now, for the last 15 years, you've been picking up your newspaper every day and reading about Muslim this, Muslim that, Hezbollah this, Party of God that, Mujahideen this. Huh? But Islam has been put on your mind. You don't know yourself or Muslims yet. You think Muslims are terrorists. Well, the only time a righteous person will terrorize you is if you've done something to anger the righteous, and the righteous intend to take care of business with you, then they'll terrorize you. Allahu Akbar. I'm almost finished. This kind of, wait. I'm going to say this. You know, this kind of teaching is frightening, you know. You meet a man, he seems so sweet. I am. But when it comes to this, see, I don't even know the man myself. My wife don't know me. This ain't the man that she sleep with. That's why when I get up in this, my wife look at me, you see awe in her face. Because this is not the man she married to. Something else is going on. No, that's a fact. This man you have to get acquainted with. The hour. Russia's gone. The Muslims have strategic atomic weapons. Iran, which had a chance to build up during America's attack on Iraq, now is moving closer to those Muslim republics in Russia that have the strategic nuclear weapons. China's quiet. Baker went over to China to pull China in. China said, ain't nothing happening. And Baker left with his tail between his legs and came back, and you haven't heard too much. Let's leave the Chinese alone. But they're about to get very active. Surely the shock of the hour. It's a grievous thing. White folks in trouble. I just till it comes straight to the point. The white man is in serious trouble. And let me tell you something. Every one of you that line up with the white man, you're in trouble, man. You're in trouble. All of you that put your eggs in his basket, you're in trouble. Because your master is in trouble. He's in serious trouble. Now let's get right to the crystallization of all of this. With Russia's economy broken, the poor third world nations that relied on that conflict between East and West, their nakedness is exposed now. So everybody is like, you remember in Godfather 1? When the old Don died and Michael took over, and everybody wasn't quite aware of Michael's sagacity, tenacity, and desire to kill his enemies. And when the heads of all the 5 families were wiped out, that's when you saw everybody coming, kissing his ring. The new Don had been born. Well, when Russia went down, the Soviet Union went down, you find everybody coming to kiss Bush's ring. 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 And Bush now is the most powerful leader in the world. And America, without a doubt, is the only game in town. White folk in America riding high Ain't no more Russia. We got this thing. Now, all our enemies, we're going to deal with them. Even though Noriega sold dope at my command. Even though Noriega let dope in the country at my command. He messed up, take out the stealth bombers, go down and get him. They brought him back to America in chains, tried him in Miami, found him guilty, and Bush said justice has been done. Daniel Ortega, the Sandinista leader of Nicaragua, he wanted to get close to Reagan and Bush, and they sold him on the idea of democracy. You have a vote in your country, and if you win the election and you win it fair and square, we will accept you. So he said, okay, okay, democracy. So he had an election, and the Americans went down through the CIA with millions of dollars, and he's out. And Violeto Chamorro is in, and white folks say, well, good, we're going to rule through her, but great dissatisfaction is in Nicaragua. When he took Noriega out, Noriega was a dark man. If he came and walked on 63rd and Cottage, or he walked on the west side, the Mexican brothers would say, ah, one of us. If he walked among the mulattoes, they say, ah, he one of us. If he walked on 63rd and Cottage, they say, yo, baby, he's one of us. Even though he played ball with white America, he didn't play ball all the way. See, when you get in white folks' game and you start ratting on your people, you can't all of a sudden get religion. Because when you get religion, he'll get you. So Noriega out of the way, Daniel Ortega out of the way, and they're moving on Castro. Now, Bush is so powerful, he got prime minister majors in Britain, and the president of France, Mitterrand. Let's get Libya. So all of a sudden now, they fabricate some evidence, and I put evidence in quotes, that Libya is responsible for the Pan Am bombing. So they say to Gaddafi, give us these two men to be tried. Like they gave him Noriega to be tried. You're going to get a fair trial. Black folk, we know about fair trials, don't we, brothers? We know about these fair trials. Ask Mike Tyson about a fair trial in Indiana. You get the wrong person representing you, buddy, you're out of here. Anyway, as you look at this now, Bush has put through the UN sanctions on Libya. He really got control now over the Security Council. Yes, sir. He's making the Security Council bow to the political will of the United States. He's moved in Africa. In Ghana, Flight Lieutenant Rollins have one party there. He's in power. He seized power 10 or 12 years ago. He's still in power. But in order for him to, quote unquote, make it and get any kind of funding, they said to Rollins, you got to step down and have an election. So Rollins said, well, I'll do it. I think I can win an election. I'll step down. Arap Moi of Kenya, who has always been the friend of Israel and America, said, I don't want more than one party. There ain't gonna be no democracy. And all America did was unleash propaganda against him in his own country, turning his people against him. And when he saw a revolution coming, he said, okay, okay, America, I'll have democracy. Babangida in Nigeria is about to step down and have elections. Nigeria, the most populous African nation, and potentially the strongest African nation, potentially one of the wealthiest African nations, so full of corruption. America is holding out the promise that through the World Bank and the IMF, if you play ball and become democratic, which means I go in with the taxpayers' dollars and I buy my man in power in every nation in Africa. And everyone that won't bow, will overturn them, will kill them. Saddam Hussein, they want him dead. They want Gaddafi dead. Rafsanjani in Iran, he's trying to mellow. Only one they don't talk about too much is China. Now let's see what's really happening. The Jews in America have always had power. They don't care who's elected. They run the show. The Federal Reserve Bank, if it lowers the interest rate, it affects the stock market. We always thought that the Federal Reserve Bank was owned by the government and the people of the United States of America. We did not know that the Federal Reserve Bank is a privately owned corporation that prints the money that we spend. Oh yes, let's talk about it. Showdown time. Owned by Jews. They print your money. They can tighten it. What's the matter? You don't like that? You hear Jews when they argue. You say, we own the banks. We don't own any banks. The banks are owned by the WASPs, the Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Yeah, they may own them little banks, but at the bank, all. It was Rothschild who said, whoever makes the laws, I don't care, as long as we control the money. Well, here we are. If you look at your dollar bill, they say money talks. But we never did understand what it says. But it's talking. If you have a dollar bill in your pocket, you may just take it out. I won't take it from you. I just take it. If you look, it has Georgie on the cover. On the $1 bill, because he's number one. He's the first president. He's a Shriner. He has 32 or 3 degrees of masonry. You look on the back of the dollar, you see a pyramid with a missing block at the top, called a capstone, I think. And you have an all-seeing eye in a pyramid of its own, looking for the capstone. I'm sure he spied it. Over on the other side, you have an eagle, which is a bird of prey. It has arrows in one claw and an olive branch in the other, talking peace and ready for war. He have 9 feathers in his tail. I think it's 13 arrows. Check it out. That unlucky number for white folks. These 9 feathers in his tail. See, that's what gives you your tail is what gives you your balance. Those 9 feathers represent the 9 Supreme Court justices. And it's a very increasingly conservative Supreme Court that's against you, brother and sister. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 white stripes and 6 red here. Come to 13 again. Then above it, in a sort of like a halo-like thing, you have 13 stars. And if you could draw in, starting the top star, down and then across and then up, and then the 4 stars right under the 1, if you could draw a line across and then down, you'd see a Star of David. See, the real Israel has never been over there. Run, juice, leave it. Y'all all right? Don't leave me now. Are y'all all right? Now look at how this thing winds up. It was natural for this Israel to help that Israel. You think the Jews are a minority here, but minority is only numerical. 1 could be a minority, 9 or 10, but if 1 got the power, then the 9 others that are number to 1 make no difference. It's where the power is. You understand that, don't you? Now let's go on. We're having a nice time. Now, if you notice, who goes up on the hill to talk about the economy? Mr. Greenspan. And before Mr. Greenspan, it was who? Paul Volcker. Spell it. But he's one of the Klan, ain't he? That's my point. They run the money picture. You need to get a book that details how the Federal Reserve Bank came into existence. The boys that print your money, that's the real power. They got us killing each other over this. Selling out our future over this. Jews set up the communist camp. Karl Marx was a Jew. Jews set up democracy or capitalism. You really democracy? Break it down and show you what it means. You want democracy? You got democracy. What is democracy? Let's break the word down. Democracy. You got it? D-E-M-O-C-R-A-C-Y. Pardon me, I only went to the 3rd grade. Democracy. That is an English word that has its root in Greek. So in order to understand the real meaning of democracy, you got to go to Greek. So the word demo comes from the Greek word demos. And krasi comes from the Greek root kratis, K-R-A-T-I-S. Demos, kratis. When you bring it up into Latin, it becomes demon, D-E-M-O-N, C-R-A-C-I, krasi. Then they drop the N and change the I to a Y, and you get democracy. Well, demos kratis and democracy means the rule not of the people, but the rule of the devil. Democracy. So when they say, we want democracy in Africa, we want the rule of the devil, not the rule of the people. They have never wanted the rule of the people. They want the rule of a few to subjugate the masses so that the few can live in luxury as bloodsuckers of the poor. Democracy. It's the only game in town now. Democracy.